Hello out there! Wake Angel 2001 is back again with a different shirt, and I zoomed in a little bit more. So this is the second Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon that got made. The title of it is simply Sonic the Hedgehog, though to differentiate it, it's gotten the pop culture name SATAM, which means Saturday morning. So I'm going to be calling it the Sonic Saturday Morning cartoon. This aired in the fall season of the same year that the Adventures cartoon came out, which is 1993. I'm not sure if the two series ever had overlap with when they were airing new episodes, but they were aired at the same time for quite a while. Unfortunately, this show didn't last as long. It had two 13-episode seasons for a full 26-episode run, but it had the misfortune of being on the same time slot as the Saturday morning airing of the Power Rangers on Fox Kids. So, with Fox being a more popular network for kids at the time, I believe this aired on Channel 9. It was in the same channel that had shows like Reboot and Bump in the Night, some of my other favorites Saturday morning fare from the time. But it's unfortunate that this less popular television block, and then not only was it one of the lesser popular television blocks, like I think 5 and 11 were the most popular, and this one was ranked 3rd, like still above the television blocks on 2 and 4. Which would be CBS and NBC, at least they were at the time. But it still ranked below WB, Fox, and I think maybe ABC had it beat. ABC wasn't purchased by Disney yet, so I don't think they had... I think it was still over ABC. But again, I'm not sure. This is... I was 8, don't quote me on this kind of stuff. But yeah, this cartoon... I loved this cartoon as a kid. I always, like, on Monday morning, kids would talk about the episode of Power Rangers they watched, and, like, I was like that kid, like, I get my fill of Power Rangers over the week. On Saturday, I watch the Sonic cartoon. Why don't you? Like, don't you guys get sick of Power Rangers? Yeah, I was that kid. I was like the cartoon hipster kid back then. Like, oh, look at me liking my obscure things and saying that I'm bored of your popular things. Yeah, I also liked the Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad and had the Servo and Drago toys instead of the Megazord, so yeah, I guess I was a little 8-year-old hipster, wasn't I? Yeah, so this cartoon, everybody who's a fan of Sonic cartoons and is my age roughly remembers this cartoon. I'm surprised when I talk to little kids in the store who want to buy Sonic DVDs, they usually want to buy old episodes of The Adventures of Sonic or the Sonic Underground cartoon. They don't really know about this cartoon very well, which is a shame. And this is a cartoon where you can get the entire series collection on DVD. It's like I think it's 4 discs. And it's awesome. In fact, this cartoon was so awesome that after it got canceled, the comic book was made to continue it on in its own way. I mean, they couldn't literally pick up from the last episode, but they like when the comic book started, the cartoon was still on the air, I believe. And the tone of the comic was something that that took a while to stabilize. At first it was, okay, I'm going to talk about the comic book briefly, bear with me. At first, the tone of the comic and the art style looked similar to the Adventures of Sonic cartoon. I'm guessing that this is because, you know, the Adventures of Sonic cartoon had been on longer, kids are familiar with it, it had relatively better ratings because it didn't have anything to compete with in its time slot. So they made the cartoon like that, the comic book like that cartoon. But they used the cast from the Saturday morning cartoon. I believe this is so that, you know, they could actually make the stories sequential. Because if you tried to make an adaptation to the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, like back in the early 90s with the comic book boom, I think today today writers would give it its due care, but in the early 90s when they were just banging out new titles as fast as they could to sell all those issue 1s, they never would have made a good adaptation to the Adventures of Sonic cartoon. It would have just been random crap which would have petered out in popularity after maybe a few issues. But I remember it was roughly around the mid-20s issues, like maybe around issue 24, 25. They started. It was. I'm guessing it was shortly after the cartoon had been canceled. They had been getting fan feedback that people liked the Saturday morning cartoon better. So they changed the comic book to have a tone more reminiscent of this Saturday morning cartoon. Which, now let's talk about the tone. This was a much darker cartoon than Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. In fact, it's up there with one of the darker cartoons overall. I would rank this with great action cartoons like Gargoyles, Batman the Animated Series, SWAT Cats, you know, cartoons like that. The Saturday morning Sonic cartoon, to this day, it's probably still my favorite cartoon ever. I mean, there's a lot of great cartoons that I love. Cartoons are one of the great things that I watch. Like, even today I watch a lot of cartoons, but like those greats that I just mentioned, Sonic the Hedgehog still sits very high in the pile. Like the whole Timverse overall, like Batman, Superman, Static Shock, Zeta Project, Batman Beyond, the Justice League Unlimited, even to a lesser extent the Legion of Superheroes, and of course the Green Lantern cartoon. All those great cartoons that they're more or less in the same universe as each other. Like all those, like I would still rank Sonic SATAM up, even with that gigantic shared universe of cartoon continuity. I mean, this was just a great cartoon. It was dark. There were consequences. In the first, first there was a pilot episode where Sonic had to find salvage in a junkyard to help make better catapults so they could launch water balloons at buzz bombers, which it's a lighter tone, but when the first proper episode starts, it's way darker than that. They killed off a character in the first episode, Cat. He was an older veteran soldier, and when he saw that they were being trailed by SWAT bots, he purposely went down a different path so they would pursue him. And he got captured and roboticized, and Sonic lamented not being able to save him. Because Sonic went to get Cat out of his cell, but Cat said, "Forget about me, Robotnik is going to be sending a force over there, you gotta save the princess." So like, "I'll be back for you." So he goes, he saves the princess, he goes back, but Cat's not in his cell anymore. We never get to see Cat again, but it's implied that he's been taken to roboticize her in that time. Which is pretty dark. I mean, it's the first episode. You're killing off a character. Like, I can just imagine Cat was probably like a father figure to everybody because most of the freedom fighters are a bunch of teenagers. Alright, so the overall plot of this story is that Robotnik has conquered the world. He was an advisor to King Maximilian, Sally's father, and he banished King Max to the Zone of Silence, a parallel universe where time doesn't flow properly. And then he used robots to conquer the planet, captured the populace, and put them in a machine called a roboticizer that makes them into his mindless robot slaves. And Sonic and his friends, they're just kids. They were like little kids, like 10 years old at the time. They managed to escape into the Great Forest, and they hide in a hidden village called Knothole. The only thing that keeps them safe is that the forest is so huge that Robotnik can't search it. I mean, he could clear cut it, but then they would stop him. So the size of the forest is the only thing that protects them from Robotnik's attacks. And it's a really good show. I cannot express how good this show is. You really should watch it. Yeah, and we see a lot of things. Like we see there's a couple episodes we meet Uncle Chuck. He's been roboticized. They're able to temporarily like like use a power ring to jar his memory and restore his mind, but it's only temporary. And in a later episode, they de-roboticize him, but the de-roboticization process wears off and he turns back into a robot. But they manage to appeal to his humanity. After having a taste of his humanity again, his brain actually reorients himself, and he's still a robot, but he has his consciousness back. And then he becomes a spy for the rest of the series. There's continuity here. I mean, every episode more or less is a standalone, but there's continuity. And good continuity. And the artwork for this series is amazing. The backgrounds are super detailed. The character designs are fantastic. And it's just, it's a great show. This is one of the great cartoons that was made. It's a shame that they had plans for a third season, and the last episode even ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, but we don't get to see more. It's like the Thundercats cartoon, or the Green Lantern cartoon. Like a really great show is made that a lot of effort goes into, but all the network can see is how much money they're spending on it for the ratings they're not getting. Again, because they put it in the same science slot as Power Rangers. And that's really sad. I'm betting if they had merchandised the series, like made a SATAM action figure line maybe, then the toy revenue could have encouraged them to keep the show going. That's why I'm happy that they got a toy line for Sonic Boom already, because the money that this toy line makes is probably gonna encourage them to keep the cartoon going at least past its first season. Although that's only if the toy line sells well. I remember the Thundercats toy line didn't sell as well as they had hoped, so they axed the cartoon. So remember, support the toy line, you support the cartoon. And that has nothing to do with the fact that I work in a toy store. So yeah, like, there's really not much I can talk about this series. Like, there's an episode with a race. What does it take from the video games? It actually takes very little. I mean, besides the Buzz Bombers in the pilot episode, we don't really see Badniks. Although I guess Robotnik has a pet robot chicken called Cluck, which I guess could be based off of the same Badnik that Scratch was based off of. You know, one of those chickens from the Wing Fortress zone in Sonic 2. And there's the power rings. Sonic would clutch a power ring to get a temporary boost in speed and power. You know, those are the rings that would prevent Sonic from dying in the video game. So it's nice to see that they incorporated that at least. But there's no real Chaos Emeralds. They have the Power Stone that powers the ring generator, and then they have these two magic stones that they get from a floating island. Oh yeah, they go to a floating island to get the Time Stones to travel back in time in an attempt to prevent Robotnik's coup. There's an episode about that. The show's only two-parter. I guess that could be seen as an adaptation of Sonic CD and Sonic 3 rolled up, because there's a floating island, and you go back in time. So, I mean, it's not a little planet, but, you know, you're combining two games. And, so yeah, I guess they use very few elements from the cartoon, aside from Sonic and Tails and Robotnik. It's really great. I mean, the comic book that they based off of this TV show endures more than 20 years later. So that shows you how much potential this thing had. So yeah, this is my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. I don't think that Sonic Boom is going to manage to beat it. If it does, that would be fantastic, because for Sonic Boom to beat this, it would have to be one of the greatest cartoons! So, let's hope that Sonic Boom is one of the greatest cartoons! Like someone will put it up in the great pantheon of memorable cartoons that people will want to collect, like, years from now, like Batman the Animated Series, or Gargoyles, or whatever. Yeah, so, SATAM. Greatest Sonic cartoon ever, one of the best cartoons ever, regardless of whether it's an adaptation of Sonic or not. And I would recommend you try to buy the DVD set. You can find it on Amazon for $20 for Christ's sake. And the cool thing about the DVD set is that the DVD covers and the cases, they have fan art. They appeal to fans to draw artwork to put in their CDs. How awesome is that? They knew that this cartoon, they knew the fans loved this cartoon so much that they specifically made this box set for us, and they actually got fans to make it to show, like the box set is a love letter to fans. Actually, hold on a second. Here it is, the Sonic the Hedgehog, the complete series box set. Now the artwork on the front is just, it's original art, done for the box set. It's not like they used a bunch of stock artwork. But check it out. The back, that's fan art. And then you take the individual discs out. You get more fan art. Look at this. They got some good fan art in there. I don't think this is fan art. But this is. Look at this. That could be a cover for one of the issues of the comic book series. That is amazing. And then inside, like the discs themselves have fan art on them, which looks great. And look, the inside, underneath the discs, more fan art. And they obviously added some fan art from younger children too, just so that, you know, just to show that that they appreciated them. I mean, I'm sure that they had a bunch of other nice fan art, but it's nice to see that at least that they use at least some fan art from younger kids, because they wanted to know that they'd be appreciated. Like some of this actually looks so good it almost looks like a screen cap from the cartoon. Like they got some real talent. But again, they still didn't forget to include some younger kid fan art. Look at this. That's some fan art from Sonic Drift. It even has Knack the Weasel. Knack the Weasel isn't in the cartoon series. And look, 15th anniversary. That shows when this box set was released. So yeah, this is a great show. They had a great appreciation of their viewership, and the fans cared enough to actually do all this. So yeah. You guys really should track down this box set. You can easily get it online. It's not expensive. I would highly recommend you get it, you watch it, because this is one of the greats. Alright, this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.